that. That's it. It just seems, for me, one of the things that make me angry about people is how easy we are to just not care. Like,
well, Patrice,
how do we move on?
Well, Patrice, you were talking about State Department Memorandum 200, where they take IMF and World Bank money and say, if you want this money, you've got to reduce your population by half. And then you talk to the general public, they go, oh, everybody knows there's too many people. They've been taught that. And see, that's the globalist excuse.
That's crazy.
I know, exactly. So then you understand why in some African countries, 46% of the people have HIV, and then they go do medical tests on them and they're virgins. They've never had sex. They've been injected with it, and they've caught the UN doing this, and it's actually all over African newspapers. If you go to Africa and talk to an African doctor or an African Nobel Prize winner, they're on record. Indian government has caught them doing this. They've caught them adding a hormone to the tetanus vaccine that then sterilizes the women. That's mainstream news. But you don't see that here, and so it's so dastardly. But when you see Endgame and you find out Hitler learned his whole game from the U.S. and England, and you learn 34 states were sterilizing the women and, grabbing poor black folks, white folks off the street and sterilizing them, and even in some cases killing newborn babies, and that the U.S. and England paid China IMF and World Bank money, and that George Bush, before he became president, George Bush Sr., was the ambassador who got him to sign the agreement for the one-child policy. Then you understand the whole world is run by people that, for lack of a better term, are a bunch of Nazis.
Now let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question, if I may. If you was to have a curriculum, okay, where you were able to teach anything you needed to teach, you wanted to teach what you're putting out there now, okay, what would be the one or two or three basic points that you will get just normal people that you go, okay, let me try to get them to open up mentally to this so that we can move on to the next thing? Like, because you have to get people to want to open up to stage one before you get to injecting, Africans with the AIDS virus. Like, which is not unbelievable. To me, it's just not an unbelievable thing. It's a believable thing. But if I'm operating, say, on the level of a person just walking down the street, the garbage man, or a person that's just going to the mall, how would I make this as common thinking as Christopher Columbus discovered America? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I would explain to them
slavery in America. Just
sure.
a basic knowledge.
Sure,
this is interested.
Well, that's a huge question, and so I'm not saying the best three things I'm about to say are the best. I have to think about that long and hard. I would explain to people that if you're not engaged and you're not informed, that you're going to be enslaved. And I would say you've heard about Hitler, you've heard about Caesar. Most governments are run by thugs, and the people are enslaved. And you know about different tribes, killing their neighbors. That is something that is the norm in human history, not the exception. And, you know what happened to the Native Americans. So, giving them poison blankets with smallpox to kill them. And that's in British manuals they gave their military going back 300 years ago. So that's on record. And then I would say, here's their own documents. And I would say, here is the published university reports of the British field manuals on how to use bioweapons 340 years ago in the Americas.
Right.
Okay. Then I would say, here is Dr. Henry Kissinger, State Department Memorandum 200, where they state this, and then you can go to the university websites, official government libraries, and it's real. I'd say, okay, you've been faced with this one document. Then I'd say, now, who is Obama's main advisor, and who does the CFR brags commands the National Security Council? And that's Henry Kissinger. And then they'll say, oh, I don't want to hear that conspiracy stuff. You just got to move on to people that want to hear the truth, people that want to be involved, people that want to be woken up. But I would also, use contemporary things.
But what about see, I guess ultimately it was a loaded question. And I'm not putting myself in, but what about, and it's, I don't want to offend anybody on this one, but what about dummies? How about, secret societies and conspiracy for dummies, for people that just will go, I don't want to hear it.
Well, Patrice, I have many times thought but they actually I think they own the copyright to that. But people have done online videos that different variants of the New World Order for Dummies,
right?
And it explains it very, very simply to people. And the most important thing is to say, do you know why your standard of living is dropping? Because the globalists want to bankrupt everybody so that we have to be dependent on welfare or institutionalized or within their system so they can then carry out social engineering, have the CPS kidnap your kids, do medical experiments on them. That's all admitted. This is slavery. We're being put on plantations. We're being put on reservations, compact control grids. And then if the dummies don't want to listen, you got to move on. I mean, I talk about the Revolutionary War was won by 5%.
But you need the revolution. You need dummies because what you're talking and what the only thing I see that could happen that could possibly change this is understanding why this country fought. And it was like basically, look, we might as well fight because we're enslaved by British money. And ultimately, it's like you need the lowest level of people, like on the feudal system, you need the masses to go, I think we're so confused now.
I agree, but here's the problem.
It's not clear. It's not clear to the people on the bottom.
Here's the problem.
Stand up.
Here's the problem. The globalists are masters at creating the crisis. They create the banking crisis. Their own documents say by design. Then they offer the scared masses. The very bankers that did it say, look, we're going to punish AIG, and they're going to punish the little CEO for $10 million instead of the shareholders who just made $1 billion apiece.
Right.
And so they're always masquerading and doing sophisticated lies and saying, we'll fix the bankers, we'll create a world government run by them. You have to get the public to stop being as trusting. And you first got to explain to them that both parties are controlled in England and in the U.S. and in Europe and everywhere else, or they'll keep doing this bait and switch. Look, in 4 to 8 years, when folks figure out Obama was a bad guy, it'll all be, as I keep saying, blamed on him. We have to stop having it be blamed on Obama or Bush, as bad as they are, and start blaming it on the elite who are always there. They bring new dummies in, they bring new fronts in, and then they move them out, and we've got to stop. That's the key. We got to stop looking at the puppets and start looking at the puppet masters. And until we get people to have that revelation, nothing's going to change. It's going to get worse.
Now, here's something I'm not clear on in terms of the Obama deception. Now, is it possible? This is the thing I'm battling with. Is it possible for Obama or any president to not know what situation they're in before they get in, or if you're even running for president, you full well know what you're asked to do and what you're needed to do by the societies?
I have the answer to that question. There have been a few presidents who were conned by the elite to believe world government was sweet and loving and good. Woodrow Wilson, top professor, wrote the book The New World Order. These bankers handled him. He thought bringing in the Federal Reserve was good. Then before he died, and he wrote letters, this is public, that I've been conned, this is a takeover. And then they poisoned him. He had a stroke, and then he was bedridden and died. So they did clearly kill Woodrow Wilson, and that's on record if you want to go research it. He was poisoned, and then on a train. But the point is, that's a guy that woke up. Kennedy was the same thing. His dad was handling him, supposedly had control of him. It was establishment mafia. Then his dad had a stroke, couldn't talk. His boys got out of control. And the establishment killed him. Obama is the super class of puppet. He is actually very intelligent like Clinton, probably smarter than Clinton, frighteningly intelligent, genius level, a genius level actor, has a lot of style and grace. I mean, it's all clear. He's an amazing person. That's why he's so devilish. No, he knows all of it. His mother worked for Geithner's dad at a top foundation. This guy is above Hitler caliber of slick. Okay, I'm telling you, he is the one. This is the guy they're going to try everything with. Right here, I've got this magazine, President of the World, President of the Planet. So I'm telling you, he is the one. Does that answer your question? He is fully involved in it. He loves betraying. He loves deceiving. He is super dangerous. Does that answer your question?
That answers what I asked. Is that more get off the phone music? We got more time or no?
Yeah, stay there. Can you stay with us some more?
Yeah, man. I like to.
All right, this is amazing. You're also agreed to go on with Burmis on the Info Warrior. Patrice O'Neal, stay there.